Joining us now to take a look at the economic fallout and the impact of the MLB moving its all-star game is Georgia business leader and Job Creators Network CEO Alfredo Ortiz. Alfredo, thanks for joining us. I want to ask you to do something tricky, which is just put this politics aside for a second. We'll get there in a minute. Talk to me about what this is costing, this decision, what it's costing the state of Georgia. We're hearing hundreds of millions of dollars. What about jobs? Break it down for us.
Yeah, absolutely. So the estimates that we're hearing is about $100 million in lost revenue to small business owners primarily, which in the state of Georgia, a lot of these folks were minority small business owners. I actually just came from a meeting earlier this morning in Cobb County where you had business leaders and small business owners, and the outrage, the disbelief, and the heartache is all real. $100 million, Jillian, is real money. It may not be a lot of money for a lot of these corporations, the Deltas and the Coca-Colas of the world, but for these small business owners who are really counting on this to happen, because in this post-COVID environment, they were extremely thin in terms of their revenues. Not much was there. A lot of these small business owners put everything on the line to survive up until now, and they were counting on this, and now this is gone. I mean, you have, for example, 8,000 hotel beds that are no longer going to be used. I talked to another small business owners where his estimate was about $50,000 of damages. And so again, $100 million may not be a lot for Coca-Cola or Delta, but for these small business owners, Jillian, it's probably the difference between keeping their doors open and closing them forever.
So Alfredo, interestingly and surprisingly, one of President Biden's, staunchest allies, who's a Georgia politician herself, actually agrees with you. Let's pull up here what Stacey Abrams had to say about the rule. She says the impassioned and understandable response to the racist classist bill that is now the law of Georgia is to boycott. I have no doubt that voters of color, particularly black voters, are willing to endure the hardships of boycotts, but such monetary loss is unlikely to affect the stubborn, frightened Republicans who see voter suppression as their only way to win. So, Alfredo, the point here being, even Stacey Abrams, who doesn't like the law, says it's racist and classist, agrees with you about the devastating fallout for the state.
Yeah, and Jillian, look, the dissemination of misinformation is just unbelievable, from the president down to Stacey Abrams and other political operatives just like her. And those lies have real consequences. Remember, we all remember famously how President Obama said that elections have consequences. Well, lies and mistruths also have it. And again, $100 million of lost revenues to our small business owners. And these are real. I talked to another small business owner who owns a limousine company and was really counting on this. He employs about 200 or contracts about 200 different drivers. And he says this is going to be hugely detrimental to his business. And his biggest concern actually is now the ripple effect that it's going to have, Jillian, on all these other potential events and conventions that might be rethinking, whether Georgia's the right place to have it in.
It's going to play out not just across your state, but across the United States. Take a listen to President Biden, who actually contradicted himself on the issue about what role these major sports organizations should play here. He said yes to MLB moving out of the state, but then asked about the Masters. He said this. Take a listen.
It is reassuring to see that for-profit operations and businesses are speaking up about how these new Jim Crow laws are just antithetical to who we are. The other side to it, too, is when they, in fact, move out of Georgia, the people who need the help the most, people who are making hourly wages, sometimes get hurt the most.
What do you make of that?
Yeah, Jillian, first of all, the Georgia law, and I have reviewed that very, very carefully. I've gone into a lot of deep detail on that. It is easy to vote, hard to cheat. That is literally what that Georgia law, the new voting law, does, and I think that's incredible. Remember in 2018, Stacey Abrams complained that there were issues with, voting irregularities. President Trump just recently said that there were voting irregularities. So both sides have said that there are voting irregularities and issues. So this bill goes a long way to fix all of that. And again, but the problem is it just doesn't fit the narrative. So what did they do? They just made things up. And that's the thing that hurts the most. And again, the outrage, the disbelief, and mostly the heartache, Jillian. I mean, these are real stories of real people that are going to lose their businesses possibly because of this.
Well, look, we wish you the best. Thanks for taking time to talk to us about the problems today. It's very illuminating. Alfredo Ortiz, we appreciate it.